Imagine a quiet evening in Willow Creek, Texas, suddenly shattered by a horrifying find. In August 2010, a local woman, 27-year-old Caroline Whitman, was discovered dead in her upscale home. The scene was shocking. Her body was in the bedroom, next to a bloodied champagne bottle, suggesting what started as a celebration had turned deadly. The house, once a symbol of affluence and happiness, was now a crime scene. As police taped off the area, neighbors gathered, whispering about what could have happened in such a peaceful place. The sight of police lights and the absence of any immediate answers left the community on edge, looking for explanations in a town where such brutal incidents were rare. This tragic event didn't just rock the local community. It opened a complex investigation that would delve into personal secrets and uncover startling revelations about what really happened to Caroline. As we move forward, we'll look into the seemingly perfect life Caroline led with her husband Michael, and how everything was not as ideal as it appeared. Next, let's dive into Caroline and Michael Whitman's life together, which many thought was the epitome of success and happiness. On the surface, they were a golden couple, Michael a hard-working financial analyst, and Caroline a charming socialite with a knack for winning over the elite of Willow Creek. Their wedding was a lavish affair that still lingered in the minds of their friends as a perfect day. However, beneath this polished exterior, the reality of their marriage was far from perfect. As investigators peeled back the layers of their private lives, they discovered a marriage strained by secrets and silent battles. Friends and acquaintances thought they knew the Whitmans, but the investigation began to reveal a different story. Financial records hinted at trouble, showing large sums of money moving in ways that didn't make sense for a couple with their income. The deeper the police looked, the more they realized that Caroline's public persona hid a complex, restless spirit. Her life with Michael, once thought to be a fairy tale, was showing cracks that suggested deeper issues. This peek behind the curtain was just the beginning, as the investigation soon uncovered evidence that would lead them to question everything they thought they knew about Caroline. In the upcoming section, we'll explore the unfolding investigation and how it revealed the tangled web of relationships and lies that defined the Whitman marriage, bringing us closer to understanding the tragedy that occurred. As the investigation progressed, detectives began to untangle a web of lies and deception surrounding Caroline's relationships outside her marriage. They uncovered multiple affairs that Caroline had skillfully hidden from everyone, including Michael. Each affair revealed a different side of Caroline, one that was more calculating and restless than anyone had suspected. Detectives found that Caroline had been involved with several influential men in Willow Creek, each relationship adding another layer of complexity to her life. These men, captivated by her charm and elegance, were unaware of each other's existence, let alone her marriage. This discovery shifted the focus of the investigation as detectives worked to piece together how these relationships might have contributed to the events leading up to Caroline's death. The financial discrepancies uncovered earlier began to make more sense as investigators linked them to expensive gifts and secret accounts. It appeared that Caroline was funding her lavish lifestyle through the generosity of her lovers, who were led to believe they were the only ones in her heart. Next, we will look into how Michael came to discover these betrayals and the devastating impact it had on him. This revelation not only spurred confrontations, but also set the stage for the tragic outcome, painting a clearer picture of the motives and emotions that culminated in that fatal night. The revelation of Caroline's secret life came crashing down on Michael unexpectedly. He stumbled upon explicit messages and emails between Caroline and her lovers, which shattered his perception of their marriage. This was not just a betrayal, it was a systematic deception that had been going on right under his nose. Michael, overwhelmed by the scale of Caroline's infidelity, struggled to come to terms with the reality he was now faced with. His trust was broken, and his emotions swung wildly between anger, sadness, and disbelief. Confronted with the undeniable evidence of Caroline's affairs, Michael felt isolated and humiliated, grappling with the impact of the lies on his own life and identity. The emotional turmoil led to a fateful confrontation between Michael and Caroline. It was an explosive encounter that started with accusations and denials, but quickly escalated into a heated argument. The tension reached a breaking point in the master bedroom, the same room where Caroline's life would soon end tragically. Next, we will explore the specifics of that confrontation and how it spiraled out of control, leading to the violent act that ended Caroline's life and set the stage for the subsequent legal battle and community fallout. In all her time, Jane Felterd never once lost control of herself or the control of the Caroline fallout. The confrontation between Michael and Caroline on that tragic August night was intense and fraught with emotion. Michael, desperate for answers and reeling from his discoveries, demanded the truth from Caroline. She, caught off guard and defensive, tried to downplay her actions. The argument escalated quickly, fueled by Michael's pain and Caroline's attempts to deflect blame. As the situation heated up, their words became sharper, each accusation and denial adding to the tension. The once quiet and loving home turned into a battleground of broken trust and shattered illusions. This emotional explosion culminated in a moment of uncontrollable rage when Michael, overwhelmed by betrayal and loss, struck Caroline with a champagne bottle, a grim symbol of their happier times. This violent act was not premeditated, but rather the tragic endpoint of a rapidly escalating argument that spiraled beyond control. The immediate aftermath was chaos, with Michael in shock and Caroline fatally injured. The scene was grim, reflecting the depth of the betrayal and the intensity of the emotions involved. In the next section, we'll delve into the aftermath of the crime, examining how Michael tried to stage the scene in a panicked attempt to cover up his actions, and how these efforts were quickly unraveled by the police investigation. After the tragic incident, Michael, gripped by panic and confusion, attempted to alter the crime scene to mislead investigators. His hasty efforts to stage a break-in were clumsy and betrayed his desperate state of mind. He moved objects around, wiped down surfaces, and even tried to position Caroline's body in a way that might suggest an intruder had been responsible for her death. However, Michael's lack of composure and forethought during these moments only served to incriminate him further. The police, upon arriving at the scene, quickly noted inconsistencies and signs of tampering that did not align with a typical burglary. The disarray looked staged, and the presence of Michael's fingerprints on the champagne bottle, alongside Caroline's DNA, raised immediate suspicions. The chaotic and ill-conceived staging failed to convince the authorities. As detectives delved deeper, they pieced together the events leading up to the crime, drawing on forensic evidence and the couple's tumultuous relationship history to build their case. Next, we will explore Michael's arrest and the initial reactions from the community and media, highlighting the shift in public perception as details of the case began to emerge, turning a once respected man into a murder suspect under the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Michael was arrested shortly after the incident, as evidence quickly mounted against him. The news of his arrest sent shockwaves through Willow Creek, where the Whitmans had been viewed as a model couple. The community, which had followed their successes and celebrated their lavish lifestyle, was now forced to reconcile this image with the grim reality of murder. The media descended on the town, drawn by the sensational aspects of the case. A beautiful socialite found dead, a husband accused of her murder, and the unraveling secrets of extramarital affairs. Cameras and reporters crowded the streets, capturing every moment of Michael being led away in handcuffs, his expression stoic, betraying little of the turmoil he felt inside. As the details of the case began to filter through the media, public opinion started to form and shift. Some sympathized with Michael, seeing him as a man driven to the edge by betrayal, while others condemned him as a jealous husband who had taken justice into his own hands. This division played out vividly in the court of public opinion, setting the stage for a trial that would be as much about the characters involved as the evidence against Michael. In the next section, we will delve into the trial process, examining how the prosecution built its case around the evidence from the crime scene, Michael's actions, and the testimony of those who knew the couple best, revealing the complexities of their private lives to a captivated audience. The trial of Michael Whitman became a focal point for the community and media alike, drawing attention to the legal proceedings that would determine his fate. The courtroom was packed as the prosecution presented a compelling case against Michael, emphasizing the premeditated nature of the crime. They pointed to the evidence of staging at the crime scene, Michael's immediate actions following the incident, and the tumultuous history of the couple's relationship. Forensic evidence played a crucial role in the prosecution's narrative. The positioning of the champagne bottle, the traces of Caroline's blood found on Michael's clothing, and his fingerprints all over the crime scene painted a damning picture. The prosecution argued that these elements, combined with Michael's financial and emotional turmoil, provided a clear motive for murder. Witness testimony added depth to the prosecution's case, with friends, family, and acquaintances of the couple providing insights into the deteriorating state of the Whitmans' marriage. These testimonies highlighted the changes in Caroline's behavior, her secret financial dealings, and her relationships outside the marriage, which further fueled the narrative of a strange relationship pushed to its breaking point. In the upcoming section, we will explore the defense's strategy, how they aimed to portray Michael as a victim of Caroline's manipulations, and their attempts to cast doubt on the motive and opportunity for murder, arguing for a moment of madness rather than a premeditated act. The defense team took a markedly different approach in representing Michael Whitman. They aimed to shift the narrative from one of premeditated murder to a spontaneous act of passion triggered by emotional distress. Their strategy focused on portraying Michael as a victim, a man driven to an extreme act by the cumulative effects of deception and psychological manipulation by Caroline. To support their argument, the defense introduced evidence of Caroline's manipulative behaviors, including text messages and emails between her and her multiple lovers. These communications depicted her as someone who exploited Michael's love and trust to maintain her own secret life of luxury and deceit. The defense argued that Michael's discovery of these betrayals caused him a mental and emotional breakdown, leading to a momentary loss of control. Additionally, the defense brought in psychological experts to testify about the impact of such deep betrayal on Michael's mental health. These experts suggested that his actions, while unlawful, were the result of a temporary lapse in judgment and control, influenced by intense emotional turmoil. Next, we will look at the closing arguments from both sides, the jury's deliberation, and the final verdict, highlighting how the contrasting portrayals of Michael and Caroline influenced the outcome of the trial. As the trial neared its conclusion, the closing arguments presented by both the prosecution and the defense were pivotal in shaping the jury's decision. The prosecution reiterated their portrayal of Michael as a calculated murderer, emphasizing the deliberate nature of his actions and the evidence that meticulously tied him to the crime. They highlighted the staged crime scene and Michael's initial attempts to cover his tracks as indicative of his guilt and premeditation. On the other hand, the defense sought to humanize Michael, focusing on his emotional turmoil and the psychological impact of Caroline's betrayals. They argued that the killing was a tragic outcome of a deeply troubled relationship, not a premeditated murder. The defense urged the jury to consider the circumstances that led to that fateful moment, portraying Michael as a man overwhelmed by emotional distress rather than a cold-blooded killer. The jury's deliberation was intense, reflecting the complex emotional and factual layers of the case. They were tasked with untangling the motivations behind the act and determining whether Michael acted out of premeditated malice or momentary desperation. In the next section, we will explore the jury's verdict, the reactions from both the courtroom and the community, and the final sentencing of Michael. This outcome not only sealed Michael's fate, but also left lasting impressions on the legal and local communities about the complexities of personal relationships and the legal boundaries of emotional responses to betrayal. The jury returned with a verdict after several hours of deliberation, finding Michael Whitman guilty of second-degree murder. This decision came as a result of weighing the evidence of premeditation against the defense's portrayal of emotional and psychological duress. While they did not condone his actions, the verdict suggested that the jury recognized the impact of the emotional factors leading up to the incident, opting not to convict him of first-degree murder, which would have implied a more deliberate intent. The courtroom was filled with mixed reactions. Some of Caroline's family and friends felt a sense of justice, while others, particularly those who had sympathized with Michael's situation, were visibly distraught. The decision sparked debates about the nature of justice and the extent to which personal betrayal impacts moral and legal responsibility. Michael's sentencing followed shortly, where he received a 25-year prison term without the possibility of parole. The judge's remarks during sentencing reflected on the tragic nature of the case and the irreversible damage done to all involved. This sentence aimed to serve as a deterrent to similar crimes, emphasizing the sanctity of human life and the legal consequences of violating it. In the concluding section, we will reflect on the broader implications of this case for the community of Willow Creek and the media's role in shaping public perceptions of crime and justice. This case serves as a somber reminder of how deeply private issues can resonate through public spheres, influencing not just the individuals directly involved, but also community values and legal precedents. In the aftermath of the trial, the community of Willow Creek and the broader public continued to grapple with the complexities of the case. The media coverage had turned the trial into a spectacle, where the private tragedies of Michael and Caroline Whitman were dissected and debated in the public arena. This exposure not only influenced public perception, but also sparked a wider conversation about the intersection of personal relationships, mental health, and criminal responsibility. For Willow Creek, a town previously unaccustomed to such scrutiny, the case left a lasting imprint. It prompted discussions on the safety and privacy of community members, and many questioned how well they really knew their neighbors. The trial had peeled back the facade of suburban tranquility, revealing the turbulent and sometimes dangerous undercurrents that can exist beneath. Moreover, the extensive media coverage brought about a surge in awareness of domestic issues and the psychological aspects of crime. It emphasized the need for greater support systems for mental health and the importance of addressing relationship problems before they escalate to violence. As we close this chapter on a tragic story, it becomes clear that the legacy of the Whitman case will influence legal, social, and psychological discourses for years to come. It serves as a poignant reminder of the profound effects personal relationships can have on individual actions and the broader societal framework. This case will undoubtedly continue to be a reference point in discussions about the law's handling of crimes of passion and the complexities involved in such cases. Reflecting on the enduring impact of the Whitman case, it's evident that its repercussions extend beyond the immediate legal outcomes. In the broader societal context, this case has underscored the critical need for early intervention and comprehensive support in matters of mental health and relationship conflicts. Educational programs and community outreach efforts have since been advocated to better equip individuals to handle relationship dynamics and emotional stress healthily and constructively. In the legal realm, the Whitman case has prompted discussions among legal professionals and scholars about the adequacy of current laws to deal with crimes stemming from personal and psychological conflicts. It has highlighted potential areas for reform, particularly in how the legal system can more effectively integrate psychological evaluations into criminal proceedings. Furthermore, the case has catalyzed a shift in media practices regarding the coverage of sensational crimes. There has been a growing call for more responsible journalism that respects the privacy and dignity of those involved while still informing the public. This includes a push for media to avoid sensationalism and instead focus on the educational aspects of legal reporting.